Hey everybody, Jason Seiden. I missed you last week. I was at RecFest, which is a talent acquisition conference. It was in Nashville. What a blast. Absolutely great. If you're in the space and you're considering going, definitely take a look at the hashtag. A lot of great content, a lot of great recaps, and definitely worth considering. So I gave a presentation with my colleague, CC Esau, and we talked about AI and empathy. Both of us have been asked for recaps by a number of people. So this week, that's what I want to do. I want to give a quick recap. It was a half-hour talk, so I wrote it up. There's an article. You can read it, all the gory details. And no AI was used to write that, by the way. That's what you do over the weekend, is write stuff out. Here's the quick overview. Punchline first. Your organization, if you're large enough to have a talent acquisition department, may have what's called an employer value proposition. It is a strategic document. It's not a compliance document. It's a strategic document that highlights what pillars underpin your company's culture and what relationship your organization has with its employees and what's expected in terms of employee relationships with each other. Why am I mentioning that? Because that is what you are going to need as a true north to make smart AI decisions. Yes, in the talent acquisition space, but probably more broadly for your organization too. Why? Well, because AI is incompatible with how we've historically done business. Historically, we make decisions based on the numbers. That's it, right? And like, I went to Wharton undergrad, I went to Kellogg grad school. Like, this system works. However, it's not without its limits, and AI hits those limits. So AI creates monopolies. Well, capitalism and numbers don't really work. Like, you look, it's just sort of like runaway profits, right? Things get screwy when you're dealing with monopolies. And AI actually creates monopolies for jobs too. So AI actually makes it hard to even see what your organization is going to look like, because one person writing an algorithm takes over for a lot of other people potentially. Number two, capitalism and the models we create, the financial models, they also don't like foundational work where there's no plan B. You know, they don't like when you're the first person to do something, or when what you're doing, you know, it's kind of all or nothing. Our financial models work best when we can set a baseline and we can say, hey, this investment's either going to let us save a little money or make a little bit more money at the same level of cost. They don't really work as well when it's like, hey, I got an idea. And then finally, right, so we've got monopolies, no plan B, and we don't know what the costs are, you know, which is kind of related to the last point. But again, capitalism works best when there's a baseline. So there are ways to work around these issues. We have venture capitalists, for instance. Like, there are ways that we deal with this, but the typical company doesn't have the risk tolerance or the financial structure, right, to dive into those worlds. Most businesses are built for steady state. And so there's an incompatibility here. So what do? Well, I think you insert empathy in front of the financial model. You're still going to have a financial model. I'm not saying you get away from that. I'm saying you start with empathy. And when you start with empathy, you can do a couple things. Number one, you can talk about issues that would normally be dumped into a footnote, right? Just on a practical basis, they tend to be overlooked. But we've got some issues here. How is this going to impact people? Well, this is going to be significant. They need to be discussed. We need to make sure that we get them right. We can't just say, yeah, don't really know, but whatever, it'll be a wash. You know, we've lived here. We know the drill. There'll be some change, some people. This is going to be big enough that we really should name some of these issues we're dealing with and figure out if they're bigger than a bread box. Empathy lets us have those conversations, and it lets us figure out what's likely to be real. It also gives us a chance to, well, if we do nothing but that, it works, right? So there's more in the article. I'll leave it there for now. But if you can get to that point where you can talk through the full cost structure, the full risk structure, well, the efficiency is known. Now you can put those things together. You can build a better model. You can move into the future with more confidence. That's what we talked about. And that's why EVP is so important. That's the thing that most closely governs empathy at your organization. So if you're going to do this and you're going to put empathy first, you need a way to do it that's consistent across the organization. Your EVP is a platform for creating that. So you want to make sure you have it. It's up to date, it's accurate, it's not too aspirational. Share it across your organization. Make sure it addresses how you want to use technology. That's a game plan for then turning around to AI. And while you're playing with these tools and you're getting excited about the efficiency that they bring and all the potential, you can match that with a fuller understanding of how will this impact our organization, what will we look like, what do we need to do to make sure it supports our people, and beautiful things happen. Anyway, if you're interested in more, read the article, reach out. If you don't have an EP, definitely reach out. You're going to want that document as we move into this future. It is going to be your true north as you try to make really smart and as riskless decisions around AI as possible. That's all I got. Love you. See you next week.